and then I'll shut up. Perhaps. Let's talk about a children's birthday party where you claim everyone is invited. But once they arrive, they are told that they must be on their absolute best behavior. But the standard for behavior keeps shifting in severity. It keeps getting worse and worse. Meanwhile, there are some children who are given preference and exemptions from these restrictions as they intensify. A child, let's say a child named Joy Reid.
I have some good news, and I have some bad news. The bad news is that conservatives and Republicans are once again showing their hypocrisy. But the good news is that Jessica Tarlow is ready to call it out. Because over the weekend, we saw NFL players, college athletes, and UFC fighters doing Donald Trump signature weird. I don't want to describe what the motions are, but dance and MAGA world was going crazy for it. Oh, it's so great to see support from athletes sharing their political opinion, but I thought we weren't supposed to do that. What happened to shut up and dribble? What happened to attacking Colin Kaepernick? Oh, MAGA has changed their mind, because of course they have. And that is exactly what Jessica Tarlow was calling out her fellow host on the 54th in a clip that I am excited to check out before we do. If I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really means the world to me. Now let's get into this clip of an incredible takedown from Jessica.
And then I'll shut up. Perhaps. Let's talk about a children's birthday party where you claim everyone is invited. But once they arrive, they are told that they must be on their absolute best behavior. But the standard for behavior keeps shifting in severity. It keeps getting worse and worse. Meanwhile, there are some children who are given preference and exemptions from these restrictions as they intensify. A child, let's say a child named Joy Reid, can denigrate white children, and that's okay. So what happens? People stop coming to the party. No one wants to go to the party. And you hear down the block, oh, there's a great house and everybody's invited, and they have a slushy machine and a swimming pool, and everybody's having a good time. Well, that's the Republicans. That's the Republicans.
And there's a slip and slide?
There is a slip and slide, in and outside.
And they have Snoopy snow cones?
Yes, they have Snoopy snow cones.
I'm in then. Jessica, why doesn't anyone want to go to the party?
Because they're deporting little children of color. So I guess we've gotten to the portion of the Trump era where we have moved past shut up and dribble, and now it is fantastic for athletes to be talking about their politics or expressing their politics, because that was one of the critical points when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, when LeBron James was speaking out. And I get it. Donald Trump wants to take a victory lap, and he won, and he should. And I think that liberals are doing the right thing, and they are thinking about how his coalition was formed, what part of our coalition was lost in order for him to make that win. But I don't think that kind of bragging that the people who don't consume the news are the ones that are winning in this, because that is dangerous. And I'm not saying that there weren't people on the news who misinformed their listeners. We're going to be talking about this in a later block. I think that a lot of people did their fans or followers a big disservice there. But it is a bad situation for the country to be in if people don't trust the people in these positions. And that doesn't mean that they don't have to live up to a certain standard. But I do think that's dangerous. And there was a new study out about the majority of people who voted for Trump rely on friends and family.
But how is it? Can you just tell me, you say it's dangerous. No one ever asked the follow-up question. Can you tell me how it's dangerous?
Well, we're going to also talk about RFK Jr. inflation. A lot of them did pick Trump, but then other people had seen that ad. I mean, that ad was completely ubiquitous in people's eyes. One thing, though, that and I'm not saying that there isn't a lot of work to do, because there absolutely is. For people who are talking about this as if we got completely decimated, the numbers don't bear that out. So Trump didn't cross 50% of the popular vote. So the majority of Americans didn't vote for him. And Senate Democrats performed really well. So people like Ruben Gallego, Tammy Baldwin, Jackie Rosen in Nevada, they ran 7-8 points ahead of Kamala Harris, which is what was predicted. And that does show that this normie coalition can exist. It was that Trump had a special sauce at the top of the ticket for a lot of people.
Hypocrisy is just what we have come to expect at this point from MAGA. It is what they do. It's the only thing they know how to do. And I am so glad Jessica was calling it out. Because, yeah, this is what has been your crusade forever. This has been your culture war issue, saying that athletes or Taylor Swift or any other celebrity needs to stay out of politics until it's someone you like saying something you like. And speaking of culture, war issues, of course, there has been a lot of discussion of whether that is something that the Democratic Party needs to be focusing on or not during election season. And I think Jessica gave a really good retort to some of the sky is falling rhetoric about the Democratic coalition that we should take a look at right here.
Who understands the Republican Party, who understands Donald Trump, I think that can only help you. And for people to say, like, well, we should just act like he doesn't exist. He's the most powerful person on the planet. If you get the chance to sit down with him, you take that opportunity and you ask your questions. He has shown himself to be willing to sit down with anybody, even if he gets embarrassed. I mean, Andrew Schultz sat on there and he said, like, you're a big liar head. And like Donald Trump didn't care. He just kept plowing through it and having a conversation with him. And I think it's a missed opportunity.
Judge, did Donald Trump do the right thing here and allow Mika and Joe to make the pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago? Was this his better angels speaking to him?
Well, I have to give President Trump credit for this. He opened the door to his own home. Mar-a-Lago is his home, to people who called him a danger to this country and to people who called him Hitler.
I talked about this in a video early today, that maybe you checked out that Donald Trump's overwhelming mandate that he would have us believe that he had on election day isn't actually that overwhelming. He didn't win 50% of the popular vote. He didn't have huge gains in the House or the Senate. It's just not what the majority of Americans wanted. And so the idea that Democrats need to completely rethink everything that the party has ever done, every decision, every piece of policy isn't true. We need to reshape our messaging. We need to build progressive media like y'all are helping to do here on YouTube. And we need to make sure that people know that we're fighting for them and how we fought for them. We do not need to completely realign what the values of the Democratic Party are. We just need to make sure we're reaching the right people with the right information. And unfortunately, some people who weren't exactly doing that today were the hosts of Morning Joe, who Jessica had some great thoughts on. I think we should take a look.
Other Dems are searching for answers on why they lost and getting lost in the wilderness.
I think Democrats are in the wilderness, as you just said before. There is no clear leader of the party. Joe Biden is going to be out of office shortly. Kamala Harris just lost the election.
I think Democrats a lot of times surround ourselves with people that will affirm what we already believe. We don't want to hear the bad news.
Someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging, not keep digging. It's important for America to have a center-left party and for that party to be competitive. And a good first step toward that goal would be to make the voters not want to punch you in the face.
So, Jessica, I'm going to give you the solution for the Democrat Party, and you tell me if it's possible. They need to turn their back on a form of antagonistic activism that has been encouraged in the past because they're loud on social media, and to win back traditional Democrats, which means it's going to be a short-term loss. They're going to lose these activists, but for a long-term solution, which is to draw the moderate Democrats or just normal Democrats back. There's your solution. Do you think it's an impossible ask?
No, I think it's quite reasonable. And a lot of people, that's what they're gravitating towards, kind of return to basics. Let's talk about the things that the widest swath of voters can agree on and kind of shed the extreme positions. Part of why nervous there, but it is a bad situation for the country to be in if people don't trust the people in these positions. And that doesn't mean that they don't have to live up to a certain standard. But I do think that's dangerous. And there was a new study out about the majority of people who voted for Trump rely on friends and family.
But how is it? Can you just tell me, you say it's dangerous. No one ever asked the follow-up question. Can you tell me how it's dangerous?
Well, we're going to also talk about RFK Jr. later. I think vaccine skepticism is dangerous. Also dangerous to be on TV and not speak English properly. I think those kinds of things are dangerous. I think that there is a rumor mill that goes around that it would be better if you could turn on the 6 o'clock news and know that you were going to be told the truth about that.
But I mean, the real danger is telling people that there are millions of people who are white supremacists. That seems to be more dangerous.
You don't think that telling people that vaccines cause autism is dangerous?
Oh, I think that is harmful. Okay. However, that doesn't put a target on people's back that might have led to an attempted assassination.
Or that illegals are getting your tax dollars instead of for FEMA aid. That's not dangerous?
Well, they are getting more tax dollars.
You know what? Maybe.
Now, I think Jessica really hit the nail on the head there. Donald Trump is normalized. He's not normal, but he does exist. And there's unfortunately nothing we can do to keep him from being president. The failure of Joe Anda going down to Mar-a-Lago wasn't the fact they spoke to them. It was the fact that they spoke to him and didn't press him, didn't push back, didn't ask questions. Interviewing Donald Trump is fine. Talking about Donald Trump is fine. As long as when you're doing it, you're pushing back, you're calling out the lies, you're pointing out the BS, and that's not what they did. It's normalizing him when you don't do that. It's normalizing him when you pretend that visiting him is like visiting any other president-elect. It's not the case. It's not true. You always have to be working to push back. And that is what we are going to continue to do on the show every single day. And in a way that you can do that on an issue that is incredibly important to me and my generation is check out a new ad from Every Town for Gun Violence that I think you'll really enjoy. That's bringing up this issue once again in a time in which we have to push back against the MAGA majority and their well-funded campaigns from the gun lobby. We need to be doing that right now. So I'm going to link that ad below. If you want to check it out, I highly recommend you do. And if you want to support this channel, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.